Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. 92%, that's how many state employees have reported they're fully vaccinated. The other 8%, though, could be out of a job on Monday. Now, according to the Office of Financial Management, more than 1,500 religious and medical exemptions have been denied so far, meaning those 1,500 people will be out of the workforce. And it will be felt in numerous settings like healthcare, state agencies, and first responders.
This week, we learned that Spokane Valley Fire will not lose a single firefighter due to the department offering accommodations. However, the city of Spokane is preparing to lose 38 firefighters and claim the number is just too high to accommodate the unvaccinated.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley, though, looked into the solutions that other departments are using statewide.
Monday could be the last day of work for dozens of firefighters in the city of Spokane. Spokesperson Brian Coddington explained to me on Tuesday the city cannot make accommodations like those in Spokane Valley due to the high volume of exemption requests. But I found another Washington city with a similar volume of requests, and it's not losing a single firefighter.
It turns out the city of Tacoma's fire department has a similar workforce to Spokane. Out of its 328 fire personnel who fall under the state's mandate, it has 58 who are approved for exemption. Spokane has 300 fire personnel with 38 who are exempt. Come Monday, Tacoma Fire Department will remain intact, and it can accommodate its firefighters beyond the options Spokane is offering. Exempt fire personnel will remain in their assigned positions. They'll receive daily health screenings, must practice social distancing, use PPE on all calls, and must wear a mask at all times. If the city of Tacoma does in fact have similar volume of requests as Spokane and can still accommodate its firefighters, why can't the city of Spokane do the same?
As we've looked at cost, as we've looked at availability and volume of testing, and all those different factors combined with the data that showed 25,000 hours lost already to the pandemic, just on quarantine alone, and another 2,300 hours or so lost to actual on-the-job contraction of COVID. All those things taken in totality made it that it was not the right decision to be able to accommodate on the job.
Does the city of Spokane have the resources to do as Tacoma or Spokane Valley has done to accommodate firefighters as far as funding?
We'd have to find $300,000 to $1 million annually to fund the PPE. Those were the projections. So those are things and choices you have to make. We have a very tight budget year.
It takes about 3.5 months for firefighters to complete training and begin working at a Spokane City fire station. The upcoming recruit school is not expected to start until January at the earliest. Coddington says while this could translate into some overtime, the city is not concerned.
Come Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 911 calls will still be answered. The Spokane Fire Department will be there. They will answer the call for help and they will provide the service that's needed.
For most of Spokane's 38 exempt firefighters, their last shift will be Sunday into Monday morning. Now, according to Governor Inslee's proclamation, if you are still working or practicing health care at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday, you are violating that mandate. Reporting in downtown Spokane, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
The state's vaccine mandate doesn't just apply to firefighters. It also impacts all state employees, including higher education, healthcare workers, and K-12 education employees.
And it also applies to Washington Department of Corrections employees. And those who are not vaccinated could lose their job. KREM 2's Cody Proctor now joins us from the newsroom to give us an update on how they are handling these final days. Cody?
Well, if there's one word that came up over and over again in this morning's media briefing with the Department of Corrections, it was the word fluid. And the reason they used that word in particular was because the numbers for vaccinated employees, exemptions, and those planning to separate is still changing even at this time. So here are a few numbers that we know right now. According to DOC officials, as of last night, 91% of their employees have turned in their vaccination cards, and they're expecting more to be turned in today as well and over the next few days. About 3% of DOC employees are being accommodated or they're on some type of protective leave that makes it difficult for them to be vaccinated at this time. The DOC secretary has said that at this morning's briefing, about 500 employees may be separating, but of course, that remains to be seen.
We're deeply saddened by the people that are going to be leaving our agency because they, a lot of them have been here a long time, and we are, I wish they wouldn't be leaving, but I respect what they're doing. I really sincerely do.
Now, with the possibility of losing employees, the Department of Corrections has been busy figuring out plans to try to minimize potential impacts, including consolidating some of their units, especially since they have over 4,000 empty beds in the system. Two locations they're keeping an especially close eye on when it comes to these potential impacts is Clallam Bay and the state penitentiary. Now, officials did say they have already had some of their units go through what they call a warm closure, which means there aren't any people living or working there, but they keep the power and the water still going so it can be used quickly if necessary. Again, the Monday is the deadline to comply with the vaccine mandate. Reporting in the newsroom, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
And good news for Spokane families, the vaccine mandate will not cause any disruption to school staffing.
So new data from SPS says only 4 staff members actually resigned as a result of the mandate. Of the district's 5,200 employees, 90% are now fully vaccinated. 1.3% had asked for a medical exemption.
8% requested a religious vaccine exemption. The district was able to provide accommodations for all those exemptions. Those accommodations range from wearing KN95 masks, face shields, and other PPE. Some staff was also reassigned within the district. Well, help is on the way now to Spokane hospitals. The Department of Defense will arrive at Providence this weekend to help with the growing number of COVID patients. Providence requested federal help assistance through the Department of Health. The team of healthcare providers with the DoD will include physicians, respiratory therapists, and nurses. Providence says they'll have more information next week once the team is actively working in the hospitals.
And a new COVID center also opened today in North Spokane. It's the COVID Care Center, which aims to provide a little relief for our local hospitals. It has 22 beds. It opened today at Avalon Care Center at North Point. It's being called a COVID decompression unit, so hospitals can discharge COVID patients who need less acute care than to that center. A federal medical team of nurses and certified nurses will also help with staffing there. The federal activation came after a request was submitted by Avalon and Spokane Emergency Management.
The request comes as more resources could be used in the fight against the coronavirus. An FDA panel has endorsed a booster of Johnson & Johnson's single-dose COVID vaccine today. J&J told the FDA that an extra dose could be taken as early as 2 months after people's first vaccination. The CDC is set to meet next week to provide guidance on both J&J's and Moderna's booster shots.
And we know that was a lot. And with the vaccine deadline approaching on Monday, things are constantly changing. So we want you to have the latest information possible. If you would like more, just text us the word vaccine to 509-448-2000. We'll send it all right to your phone.
All right, let's take a quick break from the coronavirus headlines to talk weather. Another cloudy day today, but thankfully no snow this go around.
We are grateful for that. Michelle Boss is out there right now in the elements. And now that the sun has gone down, Michelle, is it quite a bit cooler than it was?
It's almost as cold as the studio when Mark Hammerhand's in charge of the thermostat.
I understand completely.
Easy.
Temperatures are in the 50s out here, so it's certainly not as cold as it could be this time of year. Yesterday's high was only 50 degrees, so we're actually quite a bit warmer even as the sun is set. 54 in Spokane. It has dropped into the 40s in Coeur d'Alene, Deer Park, and Sandpoint, and just under 60 degrees in Moses Lake. Still hanging on to the 60s there in Lewiston. We do have some cloud cover out here. May still be a few lingering sprinkles, but for the most part, even across those northern counties, we've only been getting reports of a couple of hundredths of an inch, and we should see a drying trend as we continue through the evening. Taking a closer look at Spokane, not really a whole lot of rain in our region, but certainly up north. Again, a few sprinkles through the early evening and then drying out later on tonight. Temperatures are going to be heading back down into the upper 30s and lower 40s. So if you're going to be out for high school football, probably still need to bundle up, but short sleeves probably for tomorrow afternoon. It's looking fabulous this weekend with sunshine and 67 on Saturday and continued mild on Sunday with partly sunny skies and a high of 66.
Very much. A desperate plea from the family of a missing Coeur d'Alene woman who hasn't been seen now in more than 2 weeks. 62-year-old Sharon Archer was last seen on September 27th. She is described as being 5 feet 10 inches tall, about 175 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. She was last seen wearing jeans, gray tennis shoes, possibly a black jacket, and a candy-colored brace on her left leg. Archer is considered endangered due to a history of medical issues and the length of time that she's been without her diabetes medicine. We spoke to her daughter-in-law last night, who is asking anyone for help in finding Archer, especially local business owners who might have video of her whereabouts.
Now we're hoping the community will just help us bring her home. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance there's still a miracle that could happen, but there's a 50-50 chance that we're I mean, it's been 2 weeks. We're really not going to get very good results. If she is still alive, she's definitely going to be in the hospital.
Just yesterday, Archer's family received new footage from the Coeur d'Alene Exxon on Appleway Avenue and Government Way of her car heading north. So if you have any information on Archer's whereabouts, you are asked to contact the Coeur d'Alene Police Department.
And check your mail because your ballot may just be there waiting for you. The county elections office in Spokane has now started sending out ballots for the upcoming November election. Ballot boxes all across Washington opened up yesterday, and there are about 24 in the city that opened up, or across the county rather. You can also just pop your ballot into a mailbox. No stamps are required. Keep in mind, in Idaho, they do not use a vote by mail system, but voters can request an absentee ballot. Otherwise, you're going to need to be present at the polls on election day. Those polls in Idaho will open at 8 a.m. That's November 2nd. They'll close at 8 p.m. the same day. For more information on the key races in the area and more on making your vote count in both Washington and Idaho, just text the word election to 509-448-2000.
All right, it was 30 years ago today. Hard to believe so much time has passed. The Spokane area experienced its greatest loss due to a fire since the Great Spokane Fire of 1889. The event was called Firestorm 91, and the events of that day and the days that followed have impacted Spokane forever.
Plus, 1 week after a Department of Corrections officer was shot by someone unknown, police are now finding he may have been the one who set the whole thing up on himself. What we know about this situation that's now landed him in jail when we come back after the break.